What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Michaela. I hope you guys are doing amazing. In today's video, I want to share with you guys how to validate yourself and just really why it's important to learn how to validate yourself and not seek validation from other people. And I'm going to also share with you guys some of the things that have really just helped me with being able to get to this place of validating myself. And so if you guys see me looking over here from time to time, it's because I have notes. Your girl be forgetting stuff sometimes, and I wanted to make sure that I touched on a few things, so I'll be looking at my notes right here. But to just go ahead and get into this video, I want to first share with you guys one of the definitions that I found for the word validate. And so it says the action of making or declaring something legally or officially acceptable. And I think this is an important definition because it really does kind of go along with why a lot of people seek validation from other people. It's that feeling of being accepted. It's that feeling of, other people approve of what you're doing. They approve of who you are. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but one thing that I've been finding as I've just been on this journey of just like really learning more about myself and changing just the way that I believe about myself, one of the things that I've been finding is it all kind of stems down to self-worth. And so when you're seeking validation from other people, you're in a sense seeking that confirmation that like, okay, you are worthy, you're good enough, you have their approval. And there's a difference between like seeking people's advice, seeking their perspective on things that can maybe help you, especially if you're getting advice from people who actually have, success in certain areas that you're looking for success in or whatever it may be. But there is also the other side of it where you are seeking people's validation to fill your cup, to, add to your happiness. And that can be a little bit dangerous because when you're constantly seeking that validation and approval from other people, when you don't get it, it can impact you negatively if you don't know how to validate yourself. And so I want to help you guys get to that place where you're able to validate yourself so that you're not so disappointed when you don't get validated from human beings. Because one thing that is for sure is there's gonna come a day when your friend, your family member, your significant other, someone is not going to validate you in a way that you may want. And so if you are depending on that to fill up your cup or to make you feel better about yourself, you're going to have a hard time navigating that. And so over the last few months, I've been thinking a lot about just really where did kind of like this desire or this need for me to be validated, like where did it come from? And I feel like kindergarten was a really pivotal year for me. Like this was the year, I first started going to school every day. I may have gone to pre-K, but like this was like the first year that I fully remember like school. I was riding the school bus. I started going to a daycare, and like at this particular daycare, like it was a little more intimate, and so like I made like a really solid group of friends. And I just remember this being like the age where like friendships really meant something to me. Like I think before, when we're kids, we're playing with people, we're kind of like really just in the moment, and then once we leave the park, it's like, all right, like I may not ever see that kid again. But like this time I was seeing these kids every day, and so we were developing these relationships that really started to like mean something to me. Kindergarten was also the year, I don't know if anybody else experienced this in kindergarten, but I know for me, this was the year that I first started becoming attracted to boys. Like this was the year, like I specifically remember I went to sleep one night and I woke up and I just thought boys were cute, like certain boys were cute. This was when like I realized like, okay, I'm attracted to certain boys. And so I'm saying all this because this was like the age group where I feel like I really started to seek validation from other people to make me, feel better about myself. And, especially like being in school, like as a student, this is the time where you start getting praised or awarded when you do good things, whether it's making good grades or whether you just did something that your teacher approved, you get praised for that. But on the other side of it, you also receive, negative, not negative praise, but you'll receive criticism or critiques if you did something the teacher didn't approve of, or if you didn't do good on a test or whatever. And so I just remember kindergarten just being the time where this need to be validated from other people really became like a thing for me, and it kind of just carried over into middle school, high school, college, all these things. And so one of the things that I have really just been learning lately has been that you have to learn how to fill up your own cup. You have to validate yourself, because people are just going to disappoint you. One of my homegirls, Natalia, we were talking about this the other day. Shout out to her if she's watching this. And we were just talking about how, we as human beings, we're flawed. And so we are going to disappoint. Like, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Except that your friends, your family, your significant other, they're going to disappoint you at some point in time, because they're not perfect. We're not designed to be perfect. And so, having that understanding, you have to kind of take off the pressure of needing for other people to validate you, because they're going to disappoint you. And so if you are dependent on people to validate you for whatever it is, whether it's to validate you, for something you've done, to validate you for the way you look, the way you dress, whatever it is, how much money you have, you're going to be disappointed when they don't give you that validation. And so some of the things that have really helped me with being able to validate myself is, one, know that I'm worthy. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the times this need to be validated comes from a sense of wanting to feel worthy. And you have to feel worthy within yourself. Like, you have to know within yourself that you're good enough, that you are accepted, that you are worthy. Another thing that has helped me is also recognizing that you cannot please everybody. So there's gonna always be people who disapprove of something you're doing. And at the very same time, there's going to be people who do approve of what you're doing and who do like what you're doing. But you can't worry about that. You can't care about either one. You kind of have to be neutral and just unbothered, because at the end of the day, it's all about, do you like what you're doing? Do you approve of yourself? Are you happy in your own skin and whatever it is that you're doing with your life? Like, are you satisfied with that? And if you're spiritual, do you feel as if this is something that God wants you to do? And so one of those things, another thing that's like really helped me as well is just doing things that I enjoy by myself, like really kind of isolating myself and being able to be happy with just myself. So like going to the movies by myself. I recently saw like a pottery class, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to go take a pottery class. So like I'm gonna do that by myself, working out by myself, going out to eat by myself, like really just doing things by myself that make me feel good. So that way I'm not depending, or I'm not sitting around waiting for my friends to be able to do these things with me, or sitting around waiting on a man to do these things with me or for me. And I think when you can validate yourself too, you're not desperate, and you don't really need other people's approval of you. And so it kind of allows for you to interact with people in a way that's more secure and more confident, because you don't need them to make you happy. And I think this is really important, especially for people who are wanting to be in relationships with significant others, or even relationships with just like your friends and family. Like, there's gonna come a time when they're not going to be able to pour into you. And so if you're constantly waiting for them to pour into you, like think of it from like the perspective, you have 2 cups. If you're constantly waiting for them to pour into your cup, but they're not doing it, eventually your cup is going to dwindle at some point. And because you've been sitting around waiting on them to pour into your cup and you haven't poured into yourself, eventually your cup is going to be empty. And so then you're not going to have anything to give and pour into the relationship, because you've been waiting on someone else to pour into you. And so then when you have nothing left to give, it's like two empty cups here. We have nothing for each other. And a lot of the times relationships kind of come to an end at that point, or they suffer tremendously. And that's kind of going into like sort of a different kind of topic. But when you can pour into yourself, I think it'll help you in your relationships with other people, because you're not expecting or waiting on them to pour into you. And so when they're going through their season of not being able to fill your cup, it's okay, because you're filling up your own cup. You're doing your own things. You're feeling, you're making yourself happy. And so then you're able to kind of pour into them a little bit and help them kind of navigate whatever it is that they're going through. And then it also takes the pressure off of them to feel like they need to make you happy while they're going through whatever they're going through. Because there's, like I said, there's gonna come a time in all of your relationships where other people are not going to be able to just pour into you. Either they're not going to have the time, or they're going to be going through things within their own lives where they can't just pour into you. And I've even experienced this with like friendships, you know, like some of my friendships the dynamics between us are changing because we're just all busy. Everybody is like literally doing something different, and it's great. Like, I love it. But I've also learned that like I have some friendships where we may not talk for a week or two. And so I can't sit around for 2 weeks waiting on my friend to validate me because you'll be waiting forever. Your life will pass you by and you haven't gotten the validation that you've needed from them. And so it's just really important to like pour into yourself, validate yourself, you know, do the things that really truly make you happy, regardless of how other people feel about it. Because at the end of the day, like I said, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't approve of you. And if you allow for your life, you know, if you allow for yourself to make life decisions based on other people's opinion or approval, you're going to find yourself eventually unhappy because you didn't do any of the things that you truly wanted to do because you were seeking that validation from other people. And so, you know, I really just want you guys to really truly become confident in yourselves and be able to be your own source of your own happiness. You know, when you can be your own source of happiness, you can be a lot more of a better resource to other people because you know how to fulfill yourself. You know how to fill up your own cup. And other people can, you know, learn from that. And when you're able to fill up your own cup, you also have a little bit extra that you can pour into other people during their time of need. And so I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. You know, it was pretty quick. I don't really like to talk too long on here. But I just really want you guys to step into this new year because 2024 is coming up very soon. And I want you guys to go into this new year feeling more confident about yourselves, really just feeling more confident about your life, being more sure of yourself. And again, like I already said, being your own source of happiness, because I think that is so important to fulfill your own self. So I love you guys. And until next time, I will see you all later. Bye.